All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the weekly front-end app sync. Today, Leo's going to be leading and talking to us about what he's been working on the front-end side of the Subspace protocol. So, Leo, if you could just give us a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today, and then we'll dive into the individual topics.
Yeah, basically, I have been working in this development environment for the relayer. Um, I I was able to configure Datadog dashboards with logs for the current testnet implementation. That is our current public RPC. Yeah, for the last Docker images that we have available up there. And also, I added a lot of documentations for all the workflow, from launching a droplet up to download blocks, launching a live relayer, and the relayer in archive mode. And I was waking up and I realized that Nazar made a lot of changes in how the relayer works. So I will have to redo that documentation and that workflow. But for now, I think that I have several things to show. I'm going to share my screen.
I think it will be a little bit easier in the end, the way it will work.
Yeah, I think that is less steps and everything with that changes. Well, yesterday I shared to you guys the Datadog organization, and I I was creating these minimal dashboards. I realized that we also can have notifications if we configure the monitoring feature for Datadog. I don't
It will
know.
be the next step, and add monitoring to Relayer as well, so we can see
Yeah.
how many blocks we have, how long it takes to upload and stuff.
Oh, sorry. Log off. Oh, I lost the path. There it is. So we have these two dashboards, one for the current testnet, the public testnet, and another for the Aries dep. That is the environment that I created for Serge testing. This is working actually. I have all the things implemented in here. Um, and also created a couple of DNS records. And also I created a front-end application for this environment called Aries Dep Relayer. So when we have this working, we can also check this this testing from the front-end relayer. So like I said, I also configured this dashboard with the logs for the public RPC, for the boot node, and for the farmer, and added a couple of comments in here just for your information. I don't know how to do this as automatic scroll, but all the logs are auto discovered for the from the Datadog agent. So this is really easy to add to any environment. It's just one command. So every time that we launch a new environment or a new testnet, we just add the Datadog agent, and he will start sending the logs to the Datadog front end. And as you can see, actually, I have this DigitalOcean account actually, where is deployed the Aries Step environment. with this put node, farmer and the relayer all in one repository, in one virtual machine. Sorry. And this is actually reflecting what we have in here in the Terraform DigitalOcean droplets repository, where we have these pull requests with these changes. And like I said, I added a lot of documentation and documentation folder with all the instruction. And resuming, we have these two environments for now, Aries Dev and Aries Testnet. Aries Test is not deployed because we already have one running. And I think that environment is the one that we from my point of view, we have to remove that environment and use this in the future. Probably for the network restart. And I was checking the comments from the guys, and I have to do a couple of updates regarding these other changes about the Dockerfile relayer. And yeah, I think that that's from this point of view of the Docker and the environments that we are using right now.
I have a quick and interesting question. We have this file current plan tf plan in the repository, which is a binary file. Is that the state file?
Yeah, that's the state file.
We probably shouldn't commit state file with all of the details into the public repository. What does it contain?
I think
it's
that
not supposed to be public.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly. I don't know if
Maybe it's like
if
we
it
need to make
contains like
sure that it
sensitive.
is either encrypted or only contains really public information. Because I know at the previous work we actually had it like encrypted in a special place that only special people can access.
Yeah, in the beginning, this repository was private for the same reason, because I didn't know if this Terraform state files contains like sensitive information.
I think they do.
So yeah, maybe.
So what we had basically like a private S3 bucket. So only those who have access to that bucket can actually run all the things, even though like all the description, what is deployed is in the repository. So we need just to make sure that we do it right. So if you can do some research on that topic, that would be nice.
I will check that. But I think that even if we remove that that file, if you have like access to DigitalOcean organization, at the moment that you type Terraform init and Terraform plan, it will get all the current state from the cloud, basically. Yeah. And
I'm not sure that's how it works.
Oh, I did it that way. I tested that way, and even with the Terraform state empty, you can like pull the last resources.
I'm pretty sure the state file is there for a reason. I'm not very educated as to why exactly, but I'm pretty sure it is. It is necessary.
Okay, I will make some research on that.
Okay.
To get it clear. And what else? I have basically working in this, trying to have a consistent documentation, not only for the relayer, but for our testnet, actually. I removed a couple of not unused DNS records and created a couple of other for the new environment. Also, I was testing the relayer in archive mode, using the latest Subspace images, and I realized that I think that it doesn't contain the batching feature. Maybe you can correct me if I am wrong.
It's not.
Yeah. So when I was trying to do the archive,
it's not. Should be there. No.
I didn't rebuild images since Liu-Cheng added palette utility.
Yeah, so maybe we need to update that to have this feature and to be able actually to run the test in the
I think I will
droplets.
rebuild it and republish today. It just causes some inconveniences because we don't have any like version into it. It's just latest. So if someone were to try to join our current testnet, they will not be able to, you know?
Yeah. So having that, I think that we can like pull the new images and test the archive mode working. And I also checked this. I'm going to come in here. You can enable. Like I said, I have been working in this documentation where we have these three important parts that I have to refactor with the last Nazar changes. This will be all just one step, right? And I also checked how this tool for download blocks works, and I was testing in my local machine, and it was working fine actually. Sorry. And that documentation is also available in here. Yeah, in here. So you can get the latest relayer version and configure the tool to pull the blocks just with one line in your local environment or in a DigitalOcean dedicated droplet. I have a question in there.
Okay.
Should I create a dedicated machine to have this workflow of updating blocks like continuously working?
I am not sure what to answer because for that you would ideally need to run a lot of archival nodes of different chains. And on my machine, it was basically consuming like 80% of my CPU. And I have 12 core, 24 thread CPU. So you would have to have a pretty beefy instance just to maintain it for all of the chains.
Yeah. And create a machine with a lot of cores
Like
actually.
16 core machine.
But
Yeah.
do we have to run a full archival node, or can we just request from the onFinality API?
If you want to wait for half a year to request the whole chain, then sure. But for some chains,
Well, but
it's
if we're
feasible.
if we're just syncing the diff, it shouldn't be that bad.
That could be fine, yes. But
yeah, I think that's what we're talking about, right? We're just talking about syncing the diff, not from zero, right,
then
Leo?
it should be doable.
Yeah, it gets from the last block and it starts to updating the from there. Yeah, it doesn't start from the beginning, so shouldn't be so much
I just think that we might potentially need to redo those archives if we discussed, we want to store some metadata alongside the raw blocks, so we don't have to like parse it and figure out what's going on. Ban archival nodes would be very handy, and currently only I have them.
Yeah, I think it would be valuable. Like once we have this live, and I go back and talk to the different parachains and show them this, it would be worth getting their feedback on what, because I think we're gonna be revising this based on their feedback. So it might be better to wait until then before and incorporate all those changes at once. Okay, so to resolve that question, Leo, so I think probably yes, it would be valuable to run a dedicated instance that just resyncs the volume. Is it possible to share the volume with multiple instances at the same time, or it can only be connected to one instance? Okay, so we would have to basically, yeah. So that's
what I am doing right now.
Well, you can do slightly different thing. You can actually mount remote disk as like through NFS or something. So Especially if you are only doing like reads, then sure.
Yeah,
If you want
what
to do reads and writes at the same time, it will not work.
what I am doing right now is that when I launch a new environment, I attach a new droplet to a new volume, and I create I copy this with SCP. I just move all the folder with SCP, and as they are in the same data center, the speed is really high, and it takes like 5 minutes to copy all the 16 gigabytes storage volume to the new droplet. So for now, I was doing that.
Oh, so you're copying from, so we have one like single source of truth for the archival data, and then you're copying that into whatever the RPC or the dev node is, instead of sharing that volume directly with it.
Yeah. Are you still watching my screen?
Can't you create like a snapshot of another volume instead of copying files? Just create another copy of it.
Yeah, we can. That's the other way. We can create a snapshot of this volume, and when I create this one, then the new environment, I can like move the snapshot to the new volume.
Okay, I think that makes more sense. Yeah. So what we should probably do is have a dedicated instance which has access to this, which owns this volume, where we have these archival RocksDB database folders, and we have this script running in the background to just sync, as these new blocks come in. And then anytime we need to restart another boot node or another like test net from Genesis, then we just create a snapshot of that, and then start that boot node with that snapshot.
I think we'll have to stop the node before we can make a snapshot. We cannot just do it live. That would probably be inconsistent.
Yeah. The thing is that I tried to do that way, but I was thinking that if we are updating this storage, we have to recreate a new snapshot every time we download new blocks. And actually creating the snapshot of a 16 gigabyte volume takes like 10 minutes, more or less, in the dilution. And for me, what's more fast just copying with the current volume with SCP. And like I said, as it is in the same in the data center, the speed is really high. So for now, for development purposes, for me, it was faster the current way with SCP.
Okay, I think it's fine.
Okay, so the workflow is pretty much the same. Just instead of snapshotting it, you'll just copy it over with SCP.
Yeah, and it's also documented in the Subspace network README launch instruction in here, where you can see I have everything. Actually, when you launch a new droplet, you can just copy paste all these commands, and it will work. It work like instantly. You don't have to do any special thing more than replacing some kind of IPs and kind of or volume names and those
These
kind of things.
instructions, they need to be changed. They need to be at least in Docker Compose, so you can like modify them more easily and restart more easily, and don't do this like all manual stuff. This is like a very, very manual way to do it.
Yeah. I think that I have a to do actually in here for next improvements actually. So and in there I have this to do of automating this installation actually.
PM2, please. Let's not use PM2. Let's containerize it.
Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. The next branch actually, this one. Yeah, I have removed all these PM2 things. Yeah, I removed everything regarding PM2 and how to install those kind of things.
I have a few comments / questions. First, we are using San Francisco region in DigitalOcean. Is there a specific reason for that? It seems to
No,
be quite high latency to Europe. I know
no.
US East is often used as like a middle ground that is fairly reachable from all over the world.
Yeah. When I joined to the DigitalOcean organization, the first machines were created in there. So I tried to use the same. Yeah.
That was probably just what Justin did. I think that's just the default environment. So
I
there
believe
was
they have a
no
flat
thought behind
fee,
that.
the flat price across the world, so it doesn't really matter where you take the machine if it's available. So I would look for US East somewhere. They should have something like that. The other comment I had on the relayer side, where you have this downloader reporting after every block, like have the interval of 1 is really not recommended, because if you download 10 million blocks, your terminal will probably crash at some point if you run it like in a terminal.
Okay.
So probably something like 100 at least. If it's like something like early Kusama history, 1,000 is a good idea, because it will be like every second or two.
Okay. Sorry, I need to take note on that.
I think it's 100 by default or 1,000, but you can customize it if you want.
Yeah, I think that if you don't set the variable, it has like 100 by default. Yeah. So resuming, I have been working in having these environments the best way we can have right now, and I am waiting for these new images to test the relayer archiving. And today I think that I will be working in that, as is the main priority to get this done the faster way we can, and have these two environments for development and the public testnet actually.
So do you think, so this is the devnet, right? It's not a testnet. So maybe should I build images with the tag dev that will be separate from the testnet?
Oh,
So we can, like,
that will
update
be
it,
awesome
break it
actually.
more often.
Yeah,
Well,
because actually
let's think about that for a second, actually, because if the DevNet works and we have everything synced, then would we just want to do like a swap of which one is the testnet, or do we want to then have to resync from Genesis the testnet?
I think it's not a big deal to republish the image under a different tag, so we can potentially do it.
Well, it's not so much the problem of republishing the image; it's just the sync, like having to rerun the seeding from Genesis, like all over again.
Right, but if you call the like containers and everything dev, it kind of implies it will stay that way.
Okay.
It's like a separate environment from the testnet. I think for testnet we were planning to have like A and B environment, so you can switch between them.
Okay,
I
so
agree with Nazar, because for me, in my mind, this is the use case. This is exactly the use case. We have this testnet running with the relayer in live mode, and we reached the 1.5 gigabyte and a lot of block archived, and this is working. And Serge is, and I don't want to break this because it can work to show that we are like working. And right now, Serge is testing in the dev environment, and we need like the new images just for this test environment, and not and try to not affect this current working testnet, right?
Okay, that makes sense. So there's really another step then in the deployment process. So we're going to have the DevNet, which we need to verify that we can back up from Genesis on, which is what we talked about earlier. But then we also need to set up like a testnet A. Once the DevNet is working, then we've got to sync testnet A. And then once testnet A is fully synced, then we'll do the blue-green swap from testnet A to testnet B.
Yeah, that will be, in my mind, perfect. The perfect scenario. And what else, guys? Yeah, I think that I have been working in just the relayer and the environments for now.
I have a question on Datadog. So if you go to the Aries testnet, how do you add a widget for logs for relayer? Because I cannot find it.
That's because this testnet, Aries testnet test, like the
Yeah.
current and this one actually is running with PM2 and it's not in a Docker. Yeah, so the auto discover do not work.
Once we add Docker, it will be available.
Exactly.
Right?
So yeah. So when we have this working, this environment working, it will auto discover everything and we'll start to publishing all the things actually. Right now is just one running the nodes. Yeah.
Yeah, I just added.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just adding. I love Datadog. It's perfect. It's the perfect tool actually, because you can just query in here which host you want to log and what service you want to show and the columns for the logs and everything, and it's just really easy to use. So when you have this environment working, I can come in here and create this dashboard, configure this dashboard to show the network logs and the relayer logs separately.
No, I think I will set up it because I will need those logs right away. So yeah, but thanks anyway.
Actually, you don't have to create a dashboard or widget. You can just go. There is like a tab where you can go to all logs and you can filter whatever you need right now.
There is Explorer in here where you have like everything running and you can just filter and you have these logs like in a light mode.
And you can see like all of the logs like in one feed, like from all applications or from multiple applications. You can see like how different things interact.
Sorry, where is it again?
It should be like a separate view or something.
Okay, I will check.
Yeah, I did. No, it's not this one. Yeah, but in here there is a Explorer, Monitor Explorer or Log Explorer, something like that, and you can check the full logs for all the host running. Yeah, there is. Yeah, this one. No, it's not this. I have to check where it is, but as you can see, actually, we can also get the machine information in terms of resources, memory, CPU usage, and everything, and we can monitor this also. So I don't know. I love Datadog now. I didn't know that this was so powerful.
Actually, it's like only scratching the surface of what they can do. They have lots of stuff. They like merge logs and metrics, so you can see that there is a problem in metrics, and you can go read logs around that time and stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys got any comment, question, doubts for now.
Looks fine to me.
Yeah, this looks great. Thanks for setting all this up, Leo.
And like I said, all my work is now like documented, so anyone can take this and start working. If we got new people in the team, we can actually make a tour from these things, and he will be able to get like the current state of what we have working actually.
Okay, Leo, do you have any other updates regarding anything else on the front end side, or was it mainly just on the infrastructure side?
No, I have been working just in this. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
so I have a question for the group, and I'm fine either way. We can continue to discuss infrastructure, but this is called the front end app sync, right? And so we can change this meeting. I mean, it's confusing for people that are watching this, like you said the other day, Nazar. Can change this to some other kind of more generic name, or maybe we need to have a separate, maybe not every week, once every 2 weeks, I don't know, a separate infrastructure discussion call. Because obviously infrastructure is a huge deal, like they said on Substrate builders, when you're an independent blockchain. So what do you guys think? Should we keep talking about it in this call, or should we have a separate meeting at some other frequency for infrastructure?
I think separate meeting. We can even just slice this one in half or something.
Yeah, we should split this one, because I don't know if we are going to have like soon a lot of front-end developments for now in the short term or in the midterm.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of front-end stuff coming up soon.
Yeah.
Maybe we just separate like protocol meetings and everything else, and maybe like protocol, infrastructure, and everything else, which is like front end mostly, but not only.
Okay, so
like
it sounds like
three categories.
Okay, makes sense. So yeah, we'll split it into a different meeting. And I've been working on a schedule. I tried to line up everybody's schedule. We're going to talk about it tomorrow on the dev sync, so we can go through that in more detail then. Okay, I have some feedback, Leo. So it looked like you had a 4 gigabytes of memory and 80 gigabytes of storage on that DevNet node. I think it needs to be something like 400 gigabytes of storage for it to work.
That is the root volume. We can connect any other volumes if necessary.
Okay. So how does it work right now? Does it have another volume for the farmer and for the archival node, or is it all on that root volume?
It's only in the same volume.
Okay.
Everything in the same volume. Yeah. And there is actually in the Terraform documentation, there is a to-do that if in the future we need to decouple this or separate this, yeah, we need to create a storage for the farmer, a storage for the archiving, and everything.
Yeah, I think that's the the medium term goal. But like for today, like when we set this up so that Serge can use it, like it's got to, the size of the snapshot is like 60 gigabytes. Then we're going to archive all that. That's going to be 60, 70 gigabytes of blockchain storage on the archival node. Then we're going to plot all that. So that's going to be another like 2x, 2.5x size. So that's like 120, 150 gigabytes. So we're looking at like 400 gigabytes, like minimum, something like that this node's going to need in order to just run.
That's for the relayer, right? Specifically for the relayer storage?
Well, you've got everything on one instance.
For the farmer storage, right?
Well, there's the Substrate client, there's the farmer, and then there's the snapshot, right, of the history. So there's 3 things, and it's the same data stored 3 times in different formats.
So we need you mean we need 400 gigabytes storage for the farmer?
For everything, because you have everything on one instance, right?
Yeah. But we can just resize the volume.
Yeah, and I'm saying we need to do that.
So locally on my machine, I've archived just Kusama, and it takes basically 50 gigabytes for the node in archival mode and another 100 gigabytes for the farmer. And it's like growing. every day. So it's 150 just for a pair of farmer and a node. If you have another node, it's plus 50. If you have those archives stored somewhere, it's another, I don't know, 70. So it gets big.
Yeah, actually, the public testnet has 1.5 gigabyte in block storage. It has like 1 week running. So
Right, but
in
that's
a
not
month will
archiving
be
from
yeah.
from Genesis, so it's a whole
Yeah,
different
so
story.
this
Yeah,
will
so we need to
grow,
set the
yeah.
minimum at like a terabyte. Is what I'm trying to say. Not like
Yeah,
not
no problem.
80 gigabytes, and also the 4 gigabytes of memory. I don't know how many cores that is. That might. I don't know if that's going to be a bottleneck in any case. Maybe you can answer that, Nazar, if we need to increase the size of the instance, if that's going to speed up or slow down the seeding process.
Can you repeat?
Like we have the smallest class of instance right now for this node. Is that going to make, is that, because you were running it on your machine, which is like very powerful machine, right? And it took 6 hours.
Smallest? How many cores it has?
You're muted, Leo.
You're muted.
How many what? Sorry?
How many cores does it have?
2.
If you can have 4, that would be, I think, sufficient for now. Like the node doesn't take too much CPU. The relayer takes a bit more, but again, it will only lose like 1.5 cores. Shouldn't be too bad.
Okay, so I will grow. I will scale the volume and the droplet also.
Yeah, so let's just, as a standard rule, all the instances that we're going to have for DevNet and testnet should be 4 cores and 1 terabyte of storage.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. In your documentation, there's a lot of like misspellings, and I understand that, you know, English is not your native language, and sometimes things in Spanish and English don't always spell the same way. But if you can run spell check on your documentation beforehand, because it just looks, you know, it just looks more professional when other people read it and they don't see like common spelling mistakes like that.
Yeah, Justin gave me the same feedback that I have some spelling in there, so I will be careful with that. Don't worry.
Cool. Okay.
You can use Grammarly, you know, service. It will.
Yeah, yeah. I have the premium account actually, so I will use that.
Yeah, I use Grammarly all the time. Okay, cool. The other thing is the board to track this. So Nazar and I were talking yesterday. We're going to start transitioning to using GitHub for all the projects, basically effective immediately. So we're going to stop using Notion for new things. Obviously, we've got some tickets in Notion, so there's going to be a migration process. But we are going to start tracking things in GitHub. So in this case, we have this Terraform repository. So I'm curious, does it make sense to put the tickets in there specifically? Does that make sense to you guys, or should we build like a higher level project that we store all the tickets in?
I think in the repository it's perfect. We can then pull multiple repositories in like one board if necessary after the fact. Okay.
Leo, can you go ahead and create a project board for this in this repository, and go ahead and start creating tickets? I've got like 6 tickets that I captured from the meeting. We've got to increase the instance size and the volume for the dev node and for all nodes going forward. So that's like 1 terabyte, 4 cores, right? That's one. The other one I've got is that you're going to set up another instance I guess we can call it like Aries Archiver maybe, which is gonna run this script to update these historical volumes, which we're gonna use as our single source of truth for anytime we need to restart the testnet. We'll just copy from that. Make sense? Okay. The other one I've got is that you're going to set up a second testnet instance, like testnet A. So I guess we're going to have to differentiate between like testnet A and testnet B, so that whenever, like best case scenario, tomorrow we've got Relayer running in dev mode from Genesis. It gets all the way up to the head of the chain and it's working great. Now we just need to to restart it in this test mode, or in the test environment. So let's just go ahead and get that set up so we're ready. So that's not a bottleneck once we get to that point. Okay. And then there's another task to figure out how to handle the secrets properly in Terraform, so that we're secure here. Okay, and then I will split this into 2 meetings, and I think next time, because we're getting pretty close to the end of time here, but next time I have feedback on the Relayer front end itself, some more like UI related stuff that I wanted to discuss. We need to talk about Subspace JS to make sure, or sorry, we need to talk about Polkadot.js apps as well to make sure that we're just to review that we're keeping that in sync. And then more importantly, we need to start talking about Subspace JS. That is really the next big project here that we've got to, that's going to be the next kind of critical project for the team to start working on once we have Relayer working correctly. You're muted, Leo. I don't know if you're talking to us or not.
No. I was taking notes of the task to create the project, okay, and everything. Sorry.
Okay.
Should we create a board for Relayer as well for the repository?
I'm not sure we need to have a board. Like, do we really need to have a board? Can't you just create tickets?
So you just want to create tickets in the repositories themselves, and then have a board that's like an overall.
Well, tickets will always be in the repositories.
Yeah.
And the board will always be like overall thing, but whether we need it like from day one.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's true. Let's just keep it simple. We'll just start these as issues, and then we'll build a board and like a roadmap and all that good stuff in the near future. That just kind of aggregates everything across all the projects. So yeah, so just for everybody, for your tasks, just start creating issues in GitHub instead of in Notion going forward. And then hopefully in the next week or so, we'll figure out how to have like a master board to visualize the progress on these tasks.
Well, GitHub have improved a lot of these project boards. I didn't realize it actually.
Yeah, that was always something that they didn't really care about until they got acquired by Microsoft, and then it became much more of a priority, it seems like.
Yeah, so just to confirm, we are going to create issues for all the tasks, and if this grows too much, we can have a board, right? So we don't need a project board for now.
Yeah, well, we're going to create a project board regardless. That's something that I'll be working on more. But from your point of view, yeah, just create issues in the repository.
Perfect.
Okay, guys. Is there anything else we need to go ahead, Leo?
Yeah. So Nazar, regarding the Docker images for these latest features like the batching. Can we have this for today? For tomorrow?
I'll start building right now, and I will publish and let you know.
Perfect. Yeah, let me know, and I will test the archival mode in the droplet.
Great.
And update the documentation and everything.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about, Leo?
No, not for now. I just want to close this this archival mode and everything, so we can have this running and working like public.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the group before we close out? All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Sorry this wasn't front-end apps, it was back-end infrastructure, but next week it'll be a little bit more clear, we promise.